African artists have been on a meteoric rise, breaking barriers and reshaping the global music landscape. But despite all the visible success, especially for fans of afrobeats, amapiano, and other dominant forms of African music right now, there's one question that keeps coming up. Just one question. Can African artists truly go global without Western collaborations? Today, I'm going to dive deep into the numbers and the impact of Western collaborations and the African songs that have dominated the world without them. Buckle up, this is the no BS version. Over the last decade, collaborations between African and Western artists have become a significant trend. From Drake putting Wizkid on One Dance, then jumping on Wizkid's Come Closer, to Kendrick Lamar calling Java, Saudi, and Babes Odumo for the Black Panther soundtrack, to Beyonce's The Lion King The Gift album, featuring top African acts. These partnerships have undeniably boosted the visibility of African music globally. Beyonce's The Lion King The Gift was a pivotal moment, bringing together African stars like Tekno, Mr. Easy, Yemi Alade, Burna Boy, and Tiwa Savage from Nigeria, Umu Sangare from Mali, Salatiel from Cameroon, Shatawale from Ghana, and DJ Lag, Moonchild Sanili, and Busiswa from South Africa. The album exposed millions of listeners worldwide to the brilliance of African music, especially through, Beyonce's global brand, while positioning these artists on a global stage. A prime example of the general trend of, African and Western collaborations is Calm Down by Rema. The original version of the song, a pure Afrobeats masterpiece, has 600 million streams on Spotify. But when Selena Gomez joined for a remix, that version skyrocketed to like 1.5 billion streams. Similarly, Fireboy DML's Peru followed the same formula. The original version of the song, featuring just Fireboy himself, earned 123 million streams on Spotify. Then the remix with Ed Sheeran, who added a verse, catapulted the song to 340 million streams. The trend has shifted from African artists just desperately seeking and handsomely paying for Western collaborations they could afford at the time in hopes of gaining more global mileage, to actually earning genuine partnerships with high-level industry peers. I mean, look at Ghana's Jackie, then Oxlade, Taves, and Ricardo Banks, who all featured on Grammy-nominated singer Eric Bellinger's latest album. Check that out. It's actually a fire album. I think Eric Bellinger is doing Afrobeats now. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Then Zimbabwe's Bantu did the hook on Familiar by Nicki Minaj and Annual AA from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. I mean, huge, right? Then Thames won a Grammy featuring on Future's song alongside Drake. These examples and more actually show us that today's collaborations between African artists and then the Western counterparts are built on synergistic exchanges of ideas, goals, and vision. Most importantly, there's actually genuine respect within these collaborations, with Western acts often delivering the best versions of their talent to elevate African music, or they're actually calling on African musicians to be like, yo, I need some sauce in this, man. And, that's how it's coming about. Have I told you about mjwemoto.com yet? Well, if you watch videos on this channel, then you know about it. But if you don't, and even if you do, head over to mjwemoto.com. There's merch, goodies, and whatever else, so check it out, mjwemoto.com. Now, these collaborations between African acts and Western artists often follow a pattern. The original African track gains traction on its own, cementing its appeal. Then a Western artist jumps in, whether invited or whatever, not to change the music itself, but to amplify the reach through their branding and fan base. This formula has helped introduce African music to new audiences worldwide, creating some of the biggest cross-cultural hits. We can use Sad Girls Love Money by Amaray and Molly, both repping Ghana. It sped off to millions of streams, currently sitting at 43 million on Spotify, and got a remix with Kali Uchis. And it totally blew everything out of the water. And that remix is sitting at 462 million streams right now. But here's the thing. African artists have also been achieving monumental success without even touching a Western collaboration and songs just doing well on their own. Take People by Cameroonian star Libyanka, for example. 703 million streams on Spotify, and then 339 million views on YouTube, which takes her well over that 1 billion mark. Bruh. Tyler's Water has an incredible 880 million streams on Spotify, and it became the first song by a female African artist to spend 60 weeks on the Billboard Global 200 chart. It's also the first solo African song to do so. CK's Love Nwantiti. It boasts 902 million streams on Spotify, while the follow-up Emiliana sits at 241 million. Jerusalema by Master KG and Nomcebo Zigode sits at 427 million streams on Spotify and 630 million views on YouTube. Huge. Seether, a South African rock band from Pretoria, has the song Fake It with 490 million streams on Spotify and Broken with 308 million streams on Spotify. Then there's Omalay's So-So, which has 231 million streams, and Burna Boy's Last, another monster hit, peaked at number 4 on the UK singles chart, showing its global appeal. And speaking of Burna Boy, he was the first African artist to cross 2 billion streams in the UK. You know how hard it is to crack the UK market, and it really shows you where sub-Saharan Africa is right now in terms of our artistry and how we're getting out there globally. Artists like Tems have also proven that you don't need to feature a Western star to make waves globally. Tems' Grammy-nominated song Love Me JJ made the UK singles chart, and her album Born in the Wild charted on the Billboard 200. She's sold over 1 million career units in the US by itself. Similarly, Ira Starr's Rush has sold over 1 million units in the US alone, just the song Rush, giving her a top 40 hit on the UK singles chart as well, and a diamond certification in France in 2024. Ira Starr. And then Davido's Unavailable with Musa Keys is another global hit, racking up over 180 million Spotify streams and selling over 500,000 units in the US, making it eligible for gold certification. The album the song is on, Timeless, is one of the 4 highest charting albums by an African artist in US Apple Music history, reaching number 2. And all the other albums that did that, the African ones, reached number 2 as well. It may sound crazy to say, but yet, despite these successes, African music still has a long way to go in dominating global charts. According to the IFPI Global Music Report 2024, which covered the year 2023, no African music genre made it to the top 10 global music genres. No African artist appeared in the top 10 global artist rankings. No African album cracked the top 10 global album chart, and only one song, Rema's Calm Down, made it onto the 2023 global singles chart, and it's the version with Selena Gomez. This actually shows that while African music is making significant strides, Western collabos can sometimes serve as a shortcut to break into global markets that might otherwise remain difficult to penetrate. So what's the real impact of Western collaborations then? In most cases, it's really strategic, and it's not about altering the sound. And we have many songs to prove it. Songs like Calm Down by Rema or Essence by Wizkid were already global hits before Western artists joined the ride. Selena Gomez's addition to Calm Down was less about changing the music and more about leveraging her massive fan base to amplify the song's reach. And boy, did it do that. This branding power is what makes Western collabos so appealing. It opens doors to new audiences, radio play, radio stations, and awards recognition as well. Things that African artists might otherwise struggle to achieve on their own outside the continent. But here's the big questions. Do African artists need Western features to go global? The answer is no, they don't. As we've seen with CK, Tyler, Seether, Tim's, Iris Star, Libyanka, Master KG, African music is already winning hearts across the world based purely on its authenticity, the artistry, the musicality, and the vibe. We got it. We already got it. Tyler's album, Tyler, is now the longest running album by a female African act on the Billboard World Albums chart this century, peaking at number 1 for 5 weeks. Burna Boy's Love Damini debuted at number 14 on the Billboard 200, and his song City Boys sold over 500,000 units in the US. Black Coffee made history in 2022 by winning a Grammy for Best Dance Electronic Album, a global category, and not a token category that's just created to appease, whatever. So the truth is, we cannot ignore the role of strategic Western collaborations in accelerating visibility for African music. But it's clear that African artists are laying a very strong foundation to dominate on their own terms with their own sound without the dilution of the Western side of things. So, can African artists truly go global without Western collaborations? That's my question to you. And do you think these Western collaborations help or hurt the authenticity of African music? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more discussions around African music and African music genres and everything else. Otherwise, that's it from me. My name is MJ Wemoto, son of Zimbabwe, signing out. Peace. Day and day.